CyberMaterial presents Ask Me Anything Cyber, a fun, interactive weekly event for everything cybersecurity. Join us every week at noon Eastern Time for a high-energy, no-fluff recap of the week's biggest cyber stories. From data breaches and threat intel to major legal updates. Whether it's a high-profile hack, a new APT on the rise, or a must-attend summit, we've got it covered. But that's not all. We'll also break down the latest job market trends, share our thoughts on cyber stocks, and give you actionable insights to stay ahead. And of course, we wrap things up with what makes this show special, live Q&A with you. Have a question about a breach? Want to know how a threat works? Curious about getting started in cyber? Let us know and we'll answer it live. Without further ado, let's get this event started.
Hello and welcome back everyone to another episode of Ask Me Anything Cyber. I'm your host Rapti Pal and we have a very special event planned for you today. Joining me is my co-host Sophia, the CTO of 911 Cyber. Hi Sophie, how are you doing today? Oh, we cannot hear you.
Hi everyone, how are you? How is it going?
I hope you're doing well. And we're also honored to welcome our special guest, Dr. Avi Chaudhary, the CEO and founder of the Kulinda Consortium. Hi, Avi, how are you
Hi.
doing?
Hi, Prapti. So nice to be with you.
Yeah, it's great to meet you today. And I really do look forward to today's discussion with you, Avi. And today we're going to talk about the reality of QR code scams, supply chain frauds, hotel scams, booking frauds, and even how cyber criminals can take advantage of trust in trusted platforms. And for the viewers watching us live, feel free to drop your questions on our live chat, whether you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Substack today. Make sure to bring your questions, and we'll get them answered by our cybersecurity experts present here today. So let's begin. Avi, for those meeting you for the first time, can you share a little bit about your journey and how you moved into the field of brand protection and anti counterfeiting?
Well, first of all, it's great to be with you, Prapti and Sophia. This is a very important thing that you're doing, bringing awareness to this problem. So I got started in this field about 20 years back. I was actually traveling in India when I had to buy an antibiotic that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor said, this is a spurious drug. It's a term commonly used in India to mean counterfeit. And that just blew me away. I bought it in a metro in a large city at a major pharmacy, and so I was a victim of a counterfeit drug. And so that pretty much stopped me in my tracks. And I wondered, okay, so how is it that we can protect consumers, patients, people who are just wanting to go buy medicines to, get them well or their family, the relief. And so that's what started my journey. I didn't know anything about anti-counterfeiting
Uh-huh.
technologies. I started studying about it, and then through a series of events, as happens in our lives, I ended up where I am today. But it was a fairly interesting and circuitous journey through many different phases.
That's an interesting story. And about the Kulinda Consortium, what kind of work do you lead through it and what inspired you?
So after I started my journey in this field, I worked with various technology providers and worked with their technologies to essentially start protecting products, largely medicines. That was my focus because of my own experience. Then when COVID hit, I thought, well, I'm a scientist by training, and I thought I'd go back to academic teaching and so on. But I guess my journey wasn't over yet. And I sat down. I couldn't travel anywhere, and I had time on my hands. So I thought, okay, what can I do? Well, the one thing that always bugged me was the counterfeiting problem, especially of medicines in Africa, where the World Health Organization says 20, 30% of medicines are fake, and not much was being done about it. So I sat down and brought together all the experiences I've had, the knowledge I had gathered, the people I had met, the companies I had worked with, to
Right.
really put together a program from the ground up, to work in Africa, to bring it to Africa. And I think we'll talk a little bit about that later. Uh, but that's exactly what I began doing. And so I set up an organization called the Kalinda Consortium. It is an alliance of different solution providers that I brought together.
Mhm.
And we called it Kalinda. Kalinda is a Swahili word that means to protect, which is very apropos, given that we're working in Africa and we started working in East Africa.
Mhm. Yeah, that's actually really nice to hear. And I was wondering what Kulinda actually stands for. Thank you so much for letting me know that. And you work in product traceability and product authentication in supply chain visibility. Now,
Mhm.
how do those areas connect with cybersecurity today? And can you explain like what would be their fundamental differences?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So the way I put it is, let's say you've got a counterfeit medicine, and I'll actually show you an example of one. This is Lipitor, which I think a lot of people know what it is. This
Mm-hmm.
is actually from Kenya. This is a fake drug. Okay, now it's actually a fake drug,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
and so how do you protect a consumer from not buying that fake drug, right? And so there are two arms. There are two different ways of protecting consumers. One is traceability. And so the way to think about it is, and I'll use an example of this medicine here. Okay, this is a
Mm-hmm.
thyroid made by a very large company, and this is made at a plant, at a manufacturing site. But then from there, it goes through a series of points, distribution points, warehouses, and so on, before it arrives at the pharmacy from where
Mm-hmm.
we can all buy that. So traceability, the fundamental theory behind traceability is to document the route that this drug has taken from manufacturing to dispensation at the pharmacy. And all along the route, knowing who has had this drug for how long, and where it's gone from there, and to document that in electronic form. That is drug traceability, or track and trace as people call it. Okay.
Okay.
And that is one way of trying to stop the problem, right? And the idea is, if we know for genuine drugs where it's gone through, then, well, that will protect people because they're getting an original drug coming through the regulated supply chain. The problem with that is it's very, very costly. It's very complex to do that. Everybody in the supply chain has to participate. And these programs generally do not work well. Just to give you an example, in the US, the drug traceability program in the US was signed into law by President Obama in 2013, and it's still not been fully executed or elaborated. And it's been 12 years now. So that is drug traceability. It's kind of, think about a courier package that goes from your hands to the recipient, and all along the way you
Mm-hmm.
can track it on the web and so on. So that's traceability in the broadest sense. The other, which you mentioned, is authentication, which dispenses with all of that. All right, you don't have to go through all of that cost and complexity. Is to put something on this product, something on this product that a person, whether it's an inspector or whether it's a consumer, ideally a consumer, which is where we
Yeah.
work, can pick this up at the point of sale, do something with it, look at it, or interact with it with a
With
phone,
an
with a
app.
smartphone,
Yeah.
and be assured that it's a genuine product. So that's authentication, and you have traceability. These are the two ways, general ways of protecting medicines, and for that matter, any other product.
Thank you so much, Avi, for explaining to us the fundamental differences. And Sophie, from your
Yeah.
experience, how do you see the overlap between the physical supply chain fraud and cybercrime? Are these boundaries becoming less and less clear, as the days go by?
Mhm. Yeah. So what Dr. Avid Juhuri is doing, it's amazing because
Mm,
I can see how it can overlap with cybersecurity in the sense of like physical
yeah.
security. Um, I mean, I can say like the core goals differ a little bit between physical authenticity versus like digital protection, but they do overlap in when we talk about security and trust.
Mm,
So from my perspective, I can say that the boundary between like physical supply chain fraud and cybercrime, it's blurry, I can say, because counterfeit products, they also are facilitated by stolen digital credentials, I can say. They
uh-huh.
can manipulate shipping data, or they could be malware that compromise tracking systems. So in this case, like criminals, they're not just hacking our accounts, they're also targeting systems that certify authenticity, so they can put in the market these counterfeit drugs
Mm-hmm.
by altering softwares or systems, right? So this is where I can see these like big overlap between those two different worlds, but they in some at some point they sort of overlap together. So it's like I can say it's two sides of the same coin, like
Mm-hmm.
ensuring trust end to end. As we talk about like end to end encryption, we can talk about like ensuring from the moment it leaves the manufacturer and lands on the hands of the patients.
I definitely get that. And also, one more thing to the viewers watching live right now, make sure that you drop your questions in our live chat. We are live right now on YouTube, Substack, and on LinkedIn. So, if you have any questions, get them answered today. And Dr. Avi, going back to you, since your core work focuses on fighting counterfeit medicine, right? What are the main ways counterfeiters are targeting consumers today?
Well, I mean, there are many different ways of looking at that. I mean, the first thing
Hmm.
is, let me bring back this counterfeit pack. Now, this pack is from some years back, and obviously
Hmm.
the packs have changed and so on. But the first thing that they do is make a look-alike, so that we as consumers, when we pick it up, we just can't tell. It looks the same as the original pack, the one that we're accustomed to buying. So they try to make an exact replica of the package itself, and not just the package but the actual contents itself, right? So the blister within it, the blister pack within it will look very, very similar. Now, the only way in this
Hmm.
case that you can discern the difference is if you take the tablet out, this fake pack actually has a slight color difference than the original medicine itself. But
Hmm.
I mean, how many consumers are going to be able to detect that? So that's the one thing that they do. They try to mimic the package almost down to perfection, and it's
Wow.
amazing how good they are at doing that. Now, what's happened is over the last few years, a bunch of technologies have come to the fore to try to protect this pack, to give consumers a way of saying, "Ah, okay, this is an original."
Hmm.
And the one approach that has been taken was to use, holographic foils, holographic stickers, and we're all accustomed to holograms, those shiny things that
Yeah.
you see, and they put those on, and that worked for a while. It worked for I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, but then what happened was that it became very easy to replicate an
Yeah.
original hologram to make it look like the genuine one.
Yeah.
So that really doesn't work anymore. And now we're in the digital domain. All right. And we'll be talking about that. And that's where now you have the confluence of two battles, trying
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that it is something that's verifiable, that is robust, that is non clonable, and yet at the same time having counterfeiters to try to defeat that
Yeah.
through cybercrime, which is the whole thrust of our discussion here.
Definitely. You did mention about some traditional solutions we had before and how to, combat it. And so, how is technology being applied now?
So, one of the
That's a
things
good
that
question.
has happened is, well, two things have happened. First of all, the idea of putting a unique number on a product, the term is serialization. You put a unique number on a product and somehow you
Hmm.
verify that number. And the theory is, well, if the number is verified, then by extension, so is the product. And again, that's about 15 years old. In fact, I
Yeah.
started in my work in India shortly after my own episode in that field, serializing products. But that too became vulnerable, and counterfeiters started replicating numbers and essentially cracking the code. Let's put it that way. The other advent, I said there were two. The other
Yeah.
was the appearance of 2D barcodes. Now we see them everywhere, QR codes, for example, and so on. So the emergence of 2D barcodes on product packages is something that also happened, and that is the new thing. Now QR codes are also very vulnerable, as we're finding out through recent episodes in India, and I've written a whole bunch of articles on that. So that's where the digital has come into the physical to try to arrest this problem.
Thank you so much, Dr. Avi. And Sophie, we have talked about the QR code problem before. I think we
Hmm.
call it squishing.
Yeah.
So, QR codes are known to be vulnerable, as like Dr. Avi mentions.
Yeah.
So, what are the ways cyber criminals are compromising that today?
So, as Dr. Avi, he mentioned that the medicines, they have this hologram or sometimes a QR code to authenticate the product. It's
Yeah.
very easy for counterfeiters to actually replace this QR code for seemingly legit QR codes that they are not. So this is what is being called lately question, which is a sort of phishing using QR codes, where they are tricking users into
Hmm.
scanning what it looks like a legit QR code. And they scan, but they are go to a different, like I can say, website that they were supposed to visit. So they're like, I can say it's surprisingly easy target for cyber criminals to actually replace these QR codes. So it happened in the past, in my experience, like happened. There were like stickers of QR codes on the parking meters here in New York. And
Hmm.
they were like, people were scanning thinking that they were making a payment to their legit parking site, but it was actually replaced by the fake website. So people were putting payment credentials or like credit card on this fake website through just
Hmm.
a QR code, because people saw it pasted on the parking meter on the streets. So they were just assuming it was like the legit website. So this is how easily like attackers are using QR code to trick users. So at the end of the day, it is always the authenticity and how we can leverage the authenticity of a product through a unique identifier system. So I'm very like much open to hear what Dr. Avi's solutions are in this, especially in medicines, right?
Yeah. And Dr. Avi, as Sophie mentioned, we are very eager to hear from what you think about it. And, QR codes are vulnerable, and I would like to know, why are they still used as a security tool?
Oh gosh, that's. I've been struggling with that myself. A lot of us have. I mean, we have a small community of specialists, experts, whatever you want to call us, that have just wondered. I think part of it is uh, the ease of which the familiarity of it. Let's put it that way. I mean,
Yeah.
they're everywhere. Okay, and they were largely used for marketing purposes. There were lots of things. You scan it with a phone, and boom, you're taken to the product website. They're marketing and videos and so on, and it just became ubiquitous. And then, especially so during the pandemic. I mean, go to restaurants and you had to scan a QR code to see
Yeah.
the menu, right?
Yeah,
And
that was the
everywhere.
entire pandemic.
Yeah, and technology made it easy because smartphones have native software where you just open the camera, you point to it, and boom, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that sort of ease of access. Yeah, I mean the masses, we being the part of the masses, could easily
Mm-hmm.
use that to then see get information back. So that's one reason. Okay.
Yeah.
The second is that a lot of technology companies, despite knowing, and this is what really makes us very sort of angry in a way, despite
Yeah.
knowing their vulnerability, they've actually been pushing it. Okay. For the simple reason that there's money to be made from that. And I've written papers about it, and I've even called some of these companies out. And it's very unfortunate because they know better. I know a lot of these companies, I know most of these companies, and they know that QR codes are extremely vulnerable, yet they promote it to the drug
Yeah.
makers. They say we'll do it this way. And the third factor is, at least in medicines, there is an international organization. You may not have heard about it. It's a European standards organization known as GS1. They create the
Okay.
standards for traceability of drugs through the supply chain. And recently, what they came up with is a formatting structure to put into QR codes, to put onto medicines, to be able to validate that medicine. Right.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, what has happened is that has promoted further acceptance of this technology, even though QR codes as a core technology is extremely, extremely vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your answer. And we actually have another question coming in, and it is about QR codes.
Mhm.
So hello, Tony, welcome to our live stream. And just like Tony has asked questions, please make sure that everybody watching our stream right now drop your questions and we'll get them answered. This user is asking, hey guys, what is the best way for brands to secure dynamic QR codes used in marketing campaigns?
Hmm.
Yeah,
So, Sophie, you
so
want to take that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question because we always talk about like quishing and victims.
yeah.
So what we came up with an idea on how they can do it is just to put the URL under the flyer or whatever you're creating. I know QR codes are a shortcut for users just to like scan it, but sometimes it's like a little bit like giving another layer of trust is to add the URL what this QR code actually is taking you to. So
Mm,
if the person doesn't want to scan the QR code, they can just type on their browser the URL directly. So that's one of the ideas that we came up with for
Mm.
these type of like quishing attacks.
Yeah,
thank you so
and
much.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that is very appropriate for marketing purposes. Now, what if a QR code is being used for an anti-counterfeiting purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the important outcome is to assure a customer, the patient, consumer, that that is a genuine medicine. And the
Uh-huh.
advice that I
Yeah.
give, I think most of the specialists would give, all of them probably, is avoid QR codes entirely because of the quishing or phishing, QR phishing, quishing
Yeah.
possibilities, as well as the many ways that can be defeated. And a very small example is India announced in late 2022, a program that went into effect in 2023, that the top 300 selling drugs should have a QR code on them, all right, with various pieces of information that would come back to the consumer after you scan it. Well,
Yeah.
within a matter of months, several drugs were found in the marketplace, fake drugs with fake QR codes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I've written quite a few papers on this, so those who've been following my work know about this. And so the bottom line is, for anti-counterfeiting, avoid QR codes. It's just going to be a disaster. Period. Right, and there's just no two ways about it. And anybody who comes and promotes QR codes for anti-counterfeiting, I'm not talking about marketing,
Mm.
right? There are ways
Yeah.
you can get around that. Okay, that's not as it's not as dangerous, right? Okay, I mean it can be, obviously, as Sophia just
Yeah.
said, but the worst thing you can get is false reassurance, and there have actually been cases which I have documented where a fake drug with a fake QR code that is being scanned will tell you that it is a genuine product. And
Oh.
that's the
Mm-hmm.
worst thing, false reassurance. You are taking a medicine that you are assured as a consumer is genuine when in fact
Yeah.
it has absolutely no therapeutic value.
Yeah, definitely a huge health risk. And I really hope that we can find ways, to overcome all of this. And, Dr. Avi, when we were talking, you talked to us about a fake hotel listing. Now, I know
Mm,
that we're going to talk about it. So, can you walk
mm.
us through what happened and how you realized when something went wrong?
Yeah, so this was a personal experience.
Yeah.
I happened to travel with my wife last week. Whenever I'm in India, we try to go around, and we went to the fabled city of Varanasi. And as I usually do, I go through a trusted website to do the hotel bookings. In this case, I used Booking.com, which is, I think, the largest
Yep.
travel site. I'm not sure about that, but I think it is, and found a hotel that was very, very well regarded. It had amazing reviews, great
Mm-hmm.
pictures. It was on Booking.com, so it was very reassuring. But even then, you always still go through the reviews because there are certain hotels on that site that you wouldn't want to stay in. So you go through the reviews, you look at the location, you look at the fact that it's on that site, and so on. So we booked it. Now, what happens in India for a lot of the smaller hotels, and this was not there aren't that many major hotels in this city, and you want
Yeah.
to stay at the smaller ones. What happens in India is they don't take credit cards. So what they do is they ask you to transfer the money to their bank account. That's something common. I've done it in the past, never had any problems.
Yeah.
So therefore, we went through with this, sent it over there. Went to Varanasi, arrived there in the evening. We were supposed to be picked up from the airport. Nobody showed up. Tried
Oh.
calling the hotel. Nobody answered. Took an Uber.
Okay.
Went to the place, and we couldn't find the hotel. So we asked the local people, where's it? Nobody knew about it. Finally, somebody said there's no such hotel. It's a fake hotel. Other
Mm-hmm.
people have come here looking for it. There is no hotel. You've been duped. So, anyways, we ended up going to another hotel nearby. So that was the experience, and it all happened to me.
Yeah.
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 And you mentioned that, it looks like a residential building,
Yeah.
and it's listed under a fake review,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, so what happened was, well, of course, it was late at night, so we found another hotel. But the next day, I was
Mm.
just curious at the location where this fake hotel was supposed to be. Went walking there through the alleys, and Varanasi,
Mm.
it's just alleys, and it's a labyrinth of alleys. Actually, it's a
Mm-hmm.
pretty amazing place. So went to this place where the map was, and of course, there was no hotel. And the picture you have on the screen right now was the actual building in that very
Mm.
location, not a hotel. It's a small apartment or a private residence. I'm not sure. We didn't bother them, but that's what was there. Certainly no hotel, and certainly nothing like what was advertised on Booking.com.
And probably the people living there are not even related to the
Yeah.
scammers at all. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's terrible because this is like first-handed, like somebody that was a victim of, I can say, impersonation probably, or like a fake hotel, because we don't even know if it was like a real hotel, right?
Yep. And also, these people whose location is there, the residential building, they are also in some type of risk to exposure because people are now visiting their place and they could
Yeah,
actually just be wondering what is happening here.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Their
yeah, the
photo is being
listing looked,
shown.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the listing looked legitimate, right? With verified reviews on a trusted platform, like you mentioned it, Dr. Avi. So, what clues or patterns do you think made this scam appear so real?
Well, I think the first is something that Sophia said at the outset. You have to have trust. At the end of the day, you've got to trust your sources. And so when you have a major site like Booking.com or any of the others that are similar, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a certain level of trust that you place in the information that you are seeing there. And by the way, I've been working with Booking.com to find out what happened in this case. And my questions to them have been, well, what kind of due diligence are you doing? Because we as customers, and in this case, I was a customer,
Yep.
I mean, we can't do that due diligence until we're actually there. From afar, there's no way we can tell. We can only go on what is on your site. So the question to them was, what kind of due diligence were you doing? What kind of KYC are you doing? Or know your customer
Yeah.
profiling. What kind of background checks did you do? We don't expect everybody from these sites to go and visit the hotel, but there are ways that you can investigate to make sure it is a legitimate place.
And
And I
usually
haven't heard back
sometimes
from.
like
Sorry.
booking sometimes booking.com, they manage the payment. Like you
Yes.
put your credit card on booking.com and they
Yes.
share
Yeah.
the
That's right.
information with the hotel.
That's
But
right.
in this case, the booking.com was not even involved at all.
No, in a lot of the smaller hotels, they don't, because the hotels don't work through credit card systems and so on, and they make it clear that you've got to deal with the payment directly with the hotel, however that is.
Mm-hmm.
Pay upon arrival, but usually what happens in India, and I'm suppose in many other countries, you have to do an advance payment. In this case, it was a full payment for our stay there.
Yep. Actually, we have a question coming in from LinkedIn asking you, Dr. Avi, did you get any refund?
Well, I've asked for one from Booking.com because, after all, it was we trusted them. No, so far I've been getting a little bit of a runaround. I haven't heard back, so I can't say.
Yeah, but
I'm not
here
ready
is
to
like
say no
who
yet.
who
I
do
mean,
you ask the refund to? Like, do you
it's a
ask
work in progress.
booking.com? Like,
Yeah, it's a work in progress. Let's say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, like here, Dr. Avi, he did a wire transfer to the hotel
Right,
bank account.
right.
So it's not like he processed the payment through booking.com or
Yeah.
through a credit card. It was just a wire transfer. So when that happens, the consumer, it's a little bit less protected because when you're doing a wire transfer, they ask you for a lot of like, are you sure you want to transfer money to this? Do you know
Mm.
this party? So there's another like different like fraud components when you're dealing with wire transfers. But again, that's I think you should keep trying on getting your refund. I
Well,
mean,
I don't know. I guess I could hold out hope still. But you brought up a very good point, because the thing is, you are making a transfer to a bank account, and I think I can divulge what bank that was. It was called Canara Bank, Canara Bank.
Yeah.
It's a fairly major bank in India. And now the banking sector in India is also very highly regulated. In other words, they also have to go through a KYC process. You can't just go and open an account and then start doing transactions. So again, what kind of KYC operations did
Yep.
Canara Bank have in this case, and can they not trace back the fraudster and find that out? So anyways, I'm discussing it with the bank. I'm discussing with Booking.com. I
Yeah.
mean, it's yeah, it would be good to get
so
the
the
funds
the,
back,
the
but
wire transfer was to the Canada bank, to a Canada bank,
Canara, it's a
Canara
Canara.
bank called
Bank.
Canara Bank.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so
So the
the site.
fraudsters were using this bank.
That's correct. So and it was like, through Booking.com, you can send messages, right? And so they
Mhm.
send a message,
They
well,
sent
please
you the
pay
account
in
details.
full,
Yeah.
and here's the account, and here's the IFC code or the SWIFT code, and so on. You send it over there, and that's good. So
Well, for
yeah,
the purpose of forensics, I mean, you can work with law enforcement and report this to the bank. And even like you can even like say that this bank is
hmm
I can say harboring
yeah,
scammers because
yeah,
they are using
Mm-hmm.
their well-known or brand from Canada,
yeah.
Canadian
Canara.
Canara.
Canara
Canara.
Bank,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they are using their well-known brand to
Mm,
like commit scams and
yeah,
Mm.
defraud like customers. So
yeah,
I think you do have a case here, and
yeah.
I feel they can even like draft some laws from this, like
But it's a
get some
crazy
Incident.
reform.
level
Yeah.
of cybercrime, isn't it? I mean, they
Yep.
fooled Booking.com, and somehow they got the bank involved. They fooled me and a whole bunch of other people, by the way. And if you
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
look at the reviews, my God, there are like 24 reviews from Israel, from Bulgaria, from
Mm-hmm.
UK, a couple from India, and so on, that are all like 10 out of 10. And
yeah.
here's the interesting thing, by the way, just as a postscript to this, on Booking.com, you can't actually write a review until you stayed at the hotel. For
Yeah.
anybody who's seen the site, they
Yeah.
know that, right? And so consequently, how is it that there are over 2 dozen reviews of a fake hotel where nobody could have stayed? All right?
Well, what it usually happens is like they create fake accounts, they
Yeah.
process reservations like
Yeah.
customers, and they
Yeah.
use it. There's a lot of, like, I can say, reviews as a service in the dark web
Mm-hmm.
that you
Yeah.
can get them for a few, like,
Yeah.
couple of
Yeah. So,
dollars. Like, it's
so
not
it
a
was
big
quite
deal.
sophisticated.
And
It
you
was
say, you
really
know
quite
what?
sophisticated.
I
Yeah.
will pay you, write me a few reviews, and that's it. This ain't work for Google reviews. Like,
Yeah.
you can
Right.
buy a package and you will get a lot of good Google reviews on Google Map. So there's like a whole collective of cyber criminals like working together to make this
Mm.
happen. But the fact that they use a well-known bank to like to perform this wire fraud,
Yeah.
because this is wire fraud, I can say,
Yeah.
because you are paying for a product that you didn't get.
Yep.
So it actually
But
is.
there is one mistake I made that I want to share, okay? And I guess in my rush to book the hotel and get there, this is something I normally do, and that is to check the reviews. Yes, they look genuine, but if the reviewer has only posted one review
Once.
and
Mm.
all
Yeah.
of them have only posted one review, that's a flag, right? And that's what I didn't check, right? And if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had done that due diligence myself, I think I would have some light red, flashing lights would have gone up, right? But
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something to take back, right? Whether it's a
And
Google review or it's a Booking.com review, you see this a lot on TripAdvisor, especially, and where you just get anybody can write TripAdvisor, right?
yeah,
You just put one review; it could be your cousin, a friend, or something, and gosh,
yeah. And just to give a little bit of advice for users or customers that they're looking for, like, to book something through booking.com, there's a few details that you should consider. For example,
Mm-hmm.
if the reviews are like from the past few months, I can say 2 or 3 months,
Mhm.
probably it's a fake listing or a new listing. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're not sure, you can actually reach out to booking.com and say, hey, is this a legit, like, a place to stay? Have you like check it out, or
Right,
like any
right,
like authentication have you done
Mm.
about this
yeah,
place? And
yeah,
there are other like red flag. For example, there's no picture of the building.
yeah,
If
Mm-hmm.
you go through the pictures that they are shown, they only like show you the
Inside of the
rooms,
rooms. Yeah.
inside
yeah.
of the rooms.
Stock
It
images.
could be anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
And if they would have posted the picture of the building, probably any Google search, you would have been able to check the Google map with a
Yeah,
Yep.
street view and see if the images like coincide.
Matching. Mm.
Yeah, so those are like some, like, I can say, red flags here.
right.
And the fact that probably this hotel may not have a legit website, because most of the hotels, they do have the option to book through them,
Mm-hmm.
not through like booking.com or TripAdvisor or hotel.com. They usually have also their own website. So the fact that this hotel didn't even have also their own website that you can
Right.
actually reach out
Mm-hmm.
to them, probably another red flag. But honestly, this is not like victim blaming, because scammers are
Yeah.
very good. So it's up to us cybersecurity professionals to tell the users on how to detect red flags and how to say, you know what, let's stop, because I feel like this is something off. And
Yeah.
it's always good to do a Google research, like a Google search, and check if there's
Yeah.
anything else out there that somebody left a bad review. And if this happens to you, I always emphasize on reporting this, because
Mm.
the more you report it, the less people are likely to fall victim of this scam, because
Yep.
it's known, right? So
Right.
it's sad that already happened to you, and I'm so sorry. But
Yeah,
the fact that you are reporting this is going to be helping other people not to fall
Yeah.
victim of this.
Thank you so much, Sophie, for sharing. And on the topic of hotel scams, if you have been following us and watching our live streams, then you already know that we talked about something called ClickFix. Let's watch a quick video to get an idea of what ClickFix really is.
Hotels are being targeted by a new phishing trick called ClickFix, and it's dangerous. Attackers send fake Booking.com messages that redirect staff to a bogus ClickFix page asking them to copy a command. That command runs PowerShell, downloads a zip, and installs Pure Rat, a powerful remote access malware that steals credentials and data. Stolen booking credentials are used to defraud guests. Customers get fishy WhatsApp or email requests to verify card details. Don't paste unknown commands. Use MFA, train staff, and report suspicious messages. Stay safe.
So, Dr. Avi, now that the viewers have a little bit of more idea about what ClickFix really is, and it targets hotel staff through fake booking.com messages, what immediate steps should hotels take to prevent credential theft and avoid operational disruption?
Gosh. Well, I think they have to take ownership of
Yep.
what is on their site.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of these companies do have security departments.
Mm.
And look, I mean, there are thousands, tens of thousands, hundred, maybe hundred, a lot of hotels. And human nature being what it is, something will fall through the cracks, I suppose. But now with the advent of AI, I think they can automate a lot of that and start really putting a hand, getting a handle on this. Because ultimately, if you lose trust in something, then that's your best currency as a brand. Once you lose that trust, then what do you have, right? I mean, am I going to go back to booking.com for future bookings?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll have to check, I'll
Yeah.
have to be much more
Yeah.
careful. Whereas before I wasn't, right? I just took it on faith.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
now I'm going to be shopping around a lot
Yeah.
more, right? So that's,
yeah.
I think, the thing. Right, Sophie?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
And what I want to like build on this is like this is like a chain attack. So what it happens here is like they target the staff from through booking.com, and
Mm-hmm.
from there they get access to the database of the guests, and they reach out to their guests to get their credit card contacts,
Mm.
phone numbers, or any sensitive details. So it's like a 3 point, like first they attack booking.com, then they attack the staffing, and then from the
Mm-hmm.
staffing they access the information from the guest, and then the end victim is the guest. So as it happened to Avi, he was also like a victim as a guest, but in this case they directly attack the staff of legit entities, and they try to get like sensitive details, payment
Mm-hmm.
details, or like personal information from the guest.
Yep. And we hope that through this show, everybody watching, you are able to spot the red flags before booking into any hotels, because we know traveling is something that we like to do very often. So be careful out there. And Sophie, about ClickFix, it spreads
Mhm.
through a simple copy and paste PowerShell command. What does this tell us about the role of user training versus technical controls, in stopping these type of attacks?
Yeah, and like what ClickFix shows us is that even like the small sophisticated malware can be deployed with just a copy paste. So that means like even if you train someone not to click on the link, probably somebody was like, I don't know, following a tutorial or a way to access a website or a PDF or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and they get tricked into running a command on their computer and calling a repository and downloading this powerful Trojan. So
Mm-hmm.
this is like a different social engineering technique that threat actors are deploying right now, and they are targeting the hospitality sector. And what we are seeing here is like booking.com, hotels.com are the primary targets of this type of click fix attack.
Yep.
So the main takeaway from this is like cybersecurity, it needs a layer approach, I can say. So we need awareness, but also like technology must enforce like rules so there's not an accidental bypass. So if you see someone in your organization running these type of commands, you can actually restrict systems on not to have like administrator access, or like easy ways for a staffing member to actually run this specific PowerShell code. So the fact that we are talking about it, it sort of has to raise like a red flag for security teams to implement this
Mm-hmm.
fix in their internal areas of the company.
Thank you so much, Sophie, for your answer. And, we all just heard about Avi's story and about how a fake listing can trick almost about everybody. So let's look at another real scam. A Reddit user reported that after booking a hotel in Bangkok, they later received a WhatsApp message asking them to re enter their credit card details through a link. The message contained their full booking information, including name, phone number, reservation data, and hotel details. They want to know how the scammers obtain these details. So, Sophie, my question to you: when attackers have travelers' full booking details, like, as you can see, name, phone number, reservations, what are the most common ways that data is leaked?
So this exactly sample is what happened from a click fix attack. So it looks like the scammers, they were able to access the hotel information,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to impersonate the hotel to attack the guests and to target them into giving away like credentials or credit card information. So my advice to guests is like, if you want to double check, go downstairs to the reception and talk to someone in person directly and say,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Why did you just send me a WhatsApp message asking me for my credit card details? I'm
Yeah.
just coming here with my physical card and let's just do it in person. And that you sort of bypass this like WhatsApp message saying, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
just don't bother, don't come downstairs. We just take care of it through here. So never give
Yeah.
away credential information if you don't actually contact the institution or the hotel or whatever, even if it's your bank or any other institution that reach out to you asking for credit card information.
Mm-hmm.
Say, you know what, I'm gonna call you back and I'm gonna double check if the actual legit organization that is reaching out to me.
And Dr. Avi, in cases like this booking.com scam, what red flags should travelers look for, and what steps can platforms and hotels take to prevent attackers from contacting guests, from, forming highly personalized texts, that look like legitimate messages, like social engineering?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been grappling with that myself a little bit after my own personal experience. I'm not sure I have all the answers. I'll leave it to experts like Sophia, and
Mm-hmm.
she's been guiding us a lot. I know what I'm going to do in the future. I am going to avoid hotels that don't take credit cards. Sorry, that only
Agree.
take credit cards, rather.
Yep.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because then you're protected.
Yeah.
You can always complain to the credit card, and you know what, and they do protect you. So that is one thing. Um, I do have a bit of a solution for this, and I think this could even be a business opportunity, maybe for Booking.com or a third
Mm-hmm.
party. And that is to have some kind of an escrow situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words,
You release
hotels
the
that
funds.
don't take, yeah, hotels that don't take credit cards. And look, not everybody can take a credit card. Okay, and we have to support those small businesses, right? I mean, there are mom and pop little hotels, B and B's, and so on. They don't take the credit cards in developing emerging markets and so on, and
Mm-hmm.
they're perfectly fine. And you can have a great stay there, right?
They can
Uh,
replicate Airbnb models. That's what they do. Like Airbnb like gets the
right,
money and then it
exactly.
sends the money to
That's right.
the host.
Exactly. So you have like a some kind of a holding account, and only after you show up and everything's okay, then they'll release the money, I guess. So that
Yeah.
is one way that can happen. Now, what would I do as a consumer? I think I'm gonna look a bit more on the reviews in particular and make sure they're legitimate reviews, because I think you can now tell which ones are not. And
Yeah.
sometimes in our rush to
Yep.
go through it, you do that. And I think that's one way to do it. And as Sophia said, really verify. Now, this hotel showed up on Google Map. It was a particular location and so on. But oftentimes in Google Maps, you can also get an image of the hotel, right?
Yeah.
And you
Yep.
should be able to see that and verify that and so on. So anytime there's a situation where you're not working through a credit card booking and you have to actually pay upfront, uh, then I think these are the steps
Yeah.
that can be taken.
Yeah, prevention is better than cure, and definitely best to go through the extra steps before confirming something. And before we move on, I want to mention that Eco Party will be taking place in Miami this year. Sophie, would you like to tell us more about it, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the first time in like 21 years, EcoParty is coming to the US to connect with global hackers community like never before. So they just opened the call for papers. So anybody that wants to submit their presentation, it could be in any different topic related to cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
This They will be able to submit their papers and to participate at this 2-day conference in Miami in May. So if you're interested, you can scan the QR code that we have here, but you also included the URL if you don't want it to
Yeah.
scan QR codes. So you can just type the URL or you can reach out to us. We will send the information over. So it is open for anybody that works in the cybersecurity field or even in counterfeiting medicines. That's a great
Mm-hmm.
topic to see how the cybersecurity community can help with this problem. I feel like cybersecurity professionals can actually give you a bunch of ideas on how we can solve this. So everybody's welcome to apply, and there's a small deadline, so you need to check. It's until March 20th, so you still have a couple of months to check it out. So make sure to scan it and join us at Eco Party, the biggest Latin American cybersecurity conference now in the US.
Super.
Thank you so much, Sophie. And this question goes to the both of you. If you could change just one thing to strengthen digital security globally, what would you choose? Who would like to go first on this?
Please,
Oh, go
Dr.
ahead,
Abbott.
Sophia. No, go
Oh,
ahead.
you can go. You can go.
Well, I mean,
You,
one of the things is what I've said. When it comes to an anti-counterfeiting program, just stay away from QR codes. There are other symbologies that can be used, and they have to be closed. You see, the problem with QR codes is that they're open. You can insert a URL. The way they work is there's a URL in there that takes you to a site. Now, if you have a fake URL in there or a malicious URL in there, there's no way you can tell because you can't do that by looking at the QR
Hmm.
code, right? And so, if there is going to be some interaction with a digital tool, it's got to be done through a closed application, a dedicated mobile app or a reader or what have you through that. And that's what we're doing in Africa, by the way. The programs
Hmm.
that I'm setting up in various countries in Africa are actually closed. And we don't use QR codes, by the way. We use something else. And these are national programs. And the idea is it's a whole of society approach. Everybody that wants to will be able to download a free app, and then they start, using that to validate, verify their own medicines. So I think that is really a key thing, right? And
Yeah.
and just use technology wisely and stay
Yep.
away from things that are known to be vulnerable.
okay.
And what about you, Sophie? What will be the one thing?
Yeah, sort of on the same line, but so far as like we haven't had like the chance to actually come up with a universal identity verification system for anything
Hmm.
that you do online. So you get, like anybody can create a website, an email address, or a social media account, or fake reviews, and they can appear legitimate. So if there can be like a way that you can verify like digital identity,
Hmm.
that will be like the one solution to all. I can say.
Thank you so much for both your answers, and especially Dr. Avi. Thank you so much for joining us today. Your insights on, counterfeit prevention, digital fraud, consumer safety, and for sharing us your story about the hotel scam. It was incredibly valuable, and I'm sure
Thank
the
you.
users, viewers got something out of it today.
Thank you so much, Prapti and Sophia. It was great being here.
So thank you, Dr. Avi. So if anybody wants to stay in touch with Dr. Avi, they can reach out to you on LinkedIn, right?
You bet. Absolutely. Always
Perfect.
happy to talk to people who are interested in what we do.
Yes, absolutely. That's amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. And before we, go towards the next segment, let us look at this week's cyber briefing, and let's first watch what the cyber briefing really is about.
Stay ahead of the cyber curve with real-time alerts, incident reports, and the latest cybersecurity news, all in one streamlined, easy-to-read newsletter. Join more than 20,000 subscribers who rely on Cyber Briefing, available on LinkedIn, Medium, and now on Substack. Don't wait to protect your digital world. Subscribe today and stay informed with Cyber Briefing by CyberMaterial.
Hi, Sophie. We had a wonderful discussion with Dr. Avi, and now we're going to talk about the top headlines of this week. First is going to be the Fantasy Hub Trojan Abusers Telegram. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
So this is an alert that came out on our cyber briefing today. So this morning. So if you haven't like read that yet, I'm gonna talk about a little bit what it is about. So just so you know, what is Fantasy Hub? It's a RAT, an Android remote access Trojan, and it's
Mm-hmm.
offered like as a malware as a service. So attackers can subscribe and use it without building it themselves. So what is happening right now is like sellers are promoting it on Telegram and on cybercrime forums. So once you get access to this tool once it gets into a device, they can steal SMS messages, contacts, calls, logs,
Mm-hmm.
images, videos, or anything that you have on your Android phone. It can even intercept, reply, and delete incoming SMS notifications and
Mm-hmm.
even your 2FA codes if you're using your phone number for OTP. So this is very important to highlight because this is as a malware as a service that we always talk
Yeah.
about, and it has a wide range of attacks, and you like users should be aware of this type of like Android Trojan that is happening out there. So hopefully the team at Android, they are coming up with a patch so this is not affecting users.
Thank you so much, Sophie. And what about the incident where, Iran backed hackers, leaked Australian plans?
So this is a news that is a little bit worrisome because they are saying like Iran
Mm-hmm.
linked hacking group, which is called Tufan, and they stole the technical designs and 3D model from Australia's infantry fighting vehicles after
Mm-hmm.
breaching their defense contractors. So this is a supply chain attack. So they hacked the contractor. Therefore, they got access to all the information about the infantry vehicles from the Australian Army. So they leaked include like all the designs and how many sensitive specs they were tied to this supplier.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like worrisome because it comes with a price tag of $7 billion contract. So it
Wow.
means that Australia would have to come up with a way on kind of modify this their infantry
Yeah.
locations and like devices that they're using, but not losing like $7 billion that they have already invested.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
this must also take, some significant personnel to do it. So that is very concerning.
yeah,
And for the news, police take down major malware operations. What about
yes.
that? What is
So,
happening?
as we always mention, we wanted to end with a good news.
Yeah.
So, in this case, like Interpol, Europol, and Eurojust, they disrupted like a major malware infrastructure. It's called Operation Endgame. It has been going on for quite some time, but they have just took down more than 1,000 servers, seized 20 domains, and they carried a lot of arrests. It was for the Radamantis info stealer, and
Mm-hmm.
it has been around harvesting credentials and mostly focusing on crypto wallets. So it's and they also took down a lithium botnet, which was like a distributed DDoS malware as a service as a large scale. So
Yeah.
this is great because we can get a lot hundreds and thousands of machines that has been infected worldwide. They were taken down, so it really matters because it sort of stops cyber criminals there and to keep like attacking users as they have been doing. So it's a really good news. I can say it's a global nature operation. There was a lot of agencies involved, a lot of countries like Australia, Canada, and a lot of European Union country members. So it was like a cross-border
Yeah.
coordination to take down this huge cybercrime infrastructure.
Thank you, Sophie, for sharing your insights and breaking down our cyber briefing. And make sure that you guys subscribe to our cyber briefing because we share daily alerts, news, and incidents. So if you ever need to keep updated with cybersecurity world, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button, and we'll be there in your inbox every day, letting you know about everything that is going on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sophie, for joining me today. And of course, a big thank you to Dr. Avi Chaudhry. And we look forward to another great
Yeah.
session.
And don't forget, next week
Yep.
we're gonna have Eugene Kushner. He's gonna be talking about like zero trust
Mhm.
and cybersecurity. So join us for our next session with Eugene Kushner.
Yep. Stay safe and stay cyber aware.
Bye bye.
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for our next Ask Me Anything Cyber, a fun, interactive weekly event for everything cybersecurity. Join us every week at noon Eastern Time for another high-energy recap of the week's biggest cyber stories, from data breaches and threat intel to major legal updates. Whether it's a high-profile hack, a new APT on the rise, or a must-attend summit, we've got it covered. But that's not all. We'll also break down the latest job market trends, share our thoughts on cyber stocks, and give you actionable insights to stay ahead. And of course, we wrap things up with what makes this show special, live Q&A with you. Have a question about a breach? Want to know how a threat works? Curious about getting started in cyber? Let us know and we'll answer it live. See you next week.